The Broncos have found their next head coach. It's Nathaniel Hackett, the former Packers offensive coordinator. He's all set to become the 18th head coach in Broncos franchise history. Hello, I'm Phil Milani alongside Eric Dalala. Eric, obviously the Broncos heading in a new direction now, going with an offensive-minded head coach in Hackett. Hackett, been a long time around the league. I believe he just finished up his 13th year as an NFL coach. Why was he the right man for this job?
Yeah, Phil, I think there's two things. One, it's his skill set as an offensive play caller, as an offensive coach. We know how well the Packers have done in recent years, and Nathaniel Hackett didn't call plays there in Green Bay, but he had his fingerprints all over this offense. He was in charge of their red zone operation.
The gold zone.
The gold zone. And in 2020, the Packers, Phil, they were the best team in history since red zone stats started being tracked. So as a play caller, as somebody who can scheme things up, get these guys in the right position, that's number one. And then number two, we've heard again and again, his emotional intelligence, his ability to relate to players, to be a teacher, to kind of bring that excitement and enthusiasm to the meeting room. George Paton mentioned at the start of this search, the Broncos needed that in this building. They found it in Nathaniel Hackett.
We saw some of his former players from the Packers take to Twitter and say that he's one of the best people in general that they've been around. They're sad to see him leave the Green Bay organization. Excited for him and this opportunity. Eric, there were 9 head coaching vacancies around the NFL. The Broncos first to hire a head coach. What do you think that says about, one, this opening from the Broncos and then also Hackett?
Yeah, and this was a long search. It's much different than the one we saw the last 2 times that resulted in the hiring of Vance Joseph and Vic Fangio. George Paton interviewed 10 candidates. Hackett ended up being the only one that they brought back for a second interview, and really, Phil, it was kind of wait. Now let's go get our guy. And there was a report on Wednesday night that Nathaniel Hackett was going to go in for another interview with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Paton and the Broncos didn't let that happen. They got this deal done. I think they did all their due diligence, but ultimately got to the point where they decided Nathaniel Hackett's our guy. Let's make sure we don't lose him.
And it shows that maybe this was an attractive opening too. I mean, the Broncos have a lot of weapons on the offensive side of the ball. We know how good this Broncos defense has been. Is Hackett going to come in and instantly fix this situation here?
Well, a lot of it depends on who's going to be the quarterback next year. Of course, that's kind of the 1B to the 1A of fixing this thing for the Broncos. But you look at what he's done with Blake Bortles. Away from Aaron Rodgers, they were still able to have a top 5 offense there, the number 1 rushing attack in the league that year in Jacksonville. So I think that speaks to his ability to work with an offense. But let's be real, Phil, the entire Broncos operation needs to improve. And I think George Paton wanted somebody that can oversee the entire building, oversee all 3 facets of the game. And so Hackett can't come here, and he won't come here, and just focused on the offense.
And you mentioned quarterback. Who was the guy he worked with there in Green Bay?
Yeah, that's the Twitter, I think, exploded this morning because, of course, he's worked with Aaron Rodgers the last 3 years. Aaron Rodgers' future is in doubt, but let's be very clear. This hire was made independent of all that. We'll see what happens in the coming weeks, the coming months, but Nathaniel Hackett was hired because he's a really good offensive mind, because he's a good communicator, because he's ready to be a head coach. And if you're being smart, if you're being practical from George Paton's standpoint, you can't just bet that you're going to end up with one guy at quarterback.
No.
You've got to plan for all sorts of contingencies. Do you draft a guy? Do you sign a guy in free agency? Do you roll with Drew Lock? I mean, there's all sorts of options here. And so the notion that Nathaniel Hackett was handpicked just to get a quarterback to come with him, I don't think that that's right.
We'll have to see what happens, Eric. We'll have to see what happens. One thing's for sure, we're both in solidarity that this is the right pick for the Broncos. That's why we're both wearing gray sweaters.
Yeah. It's a little gloomy here in Denver today, but I think there's a lot of optimism, a lot of excitement.
Yeah.
We're fired up.
What do you think about local Mexican establishments here, Mexican food? They're going to get an uptick here in business, I think.
I guess so, yeah.
That's where you go to seal the deal, Eric.
All it takes is one margarita.
All right, well, we're hoping to hear from the Broncos' new head coach maybe tomorrow, I think, a little bit of Friday, as he's introduced here in Denver, the 18th head coach in Broncos history. That's going to do it for us. For Eric Dahl, I'm Phil Milani.